Live from the Stone & Field Studios, it's Houston Real Estate Talk with your host, Kariliz Perez.
Hi, and welcome to the Houston Real Estate Talk with Stone and Fields, here with Tobias Engel from Staging to Sell. Welcome, Tobias.
Thank you, Kariliz.
Absolutely.
Thank you for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to present myself here.
I appreciate it. Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and your company, Tobias?
All right, so I moved to Houston about 4 years ago, and I came here from Amsterdam in the Netherlands, where I've always worked in corporate marketing and brand management. And moving here, I thought it was time for a big career change. And watching, the Houston Live and seeing what everyone was doing, I decided to jump on the bandwagon and start flipping houses.
Nice.
Like it seemed like everyone was doing in Houston. That's all that people talked about.
Yes.
So I've been here now for nearly 4 years. And in that period, I've invested and remodeled and sold 5 homes.
Wow.
And that's been a really interesting business and a steep learning curve since it was something completely new for me to do. So in that time, initially the first home sold very easily. The second took a little bit longer, and that made me decide to maybe stage the home, lightly at first. So I bought some bathroom accessories, I bought some kitchen accessories, maybe a rug here and there, a plant, and that was it. But slowly, this expanded, and all of a sudden I find myself in a full-blown staging business with, tons of furnishings, accessories, you name it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you came up with the name after you started flipping the homes, or from the beginning you decided, this is a good idea just to establish this company right before you were already doing it?
Yes, well, I was flipping really under another company name. And at one point I thought, well, perhaps I should call this something more effective, with my marketing background in mind.
Of course.
So, ultimately what we want to do is stage to sell the home, right?
Absolutely. Very clever. I like it a lot.
Yes.
Good idea. Very well. So why don't we get started here with some of the questions we have. You have put together as well. How do you get in touch with new clients? Since you already have this experience, right? But it's only been 4 years that you've been in the business. How do you work to get in touch with new ones?
So arriving here, I started working with one particular realtor. And he bought the homes that I, invested in and ended up selling them once they were remodeled. So my initial business, after a while, came through this one particular realtor. But then along the way, I worked with different realtors as well for other projects, one of which is you. And so a lot of the business came through these befriended realtors, really. But now, slowly, bit by bit, I've worked also for out-of-state investors in California, for instance, who've invested in properties in Houston. And now I notice that word of mouth is doing its thing in California. And I get calls from out of state, from people, who've had experiences with me. And
that's very interesting. So they own property here, but they live there and they already know who you are. They've seen your work and they just get a hold of you, and you go visit the house and you give them, and everything is done while they're still in California. That's
exactly. So
cool.
I end up never meeting these clients.
Right. Very convenient. I like that. What do you see as your main task when staging a home for a client?
Okay, well, basically, really, it's all about window dressing, of course, and you want to present the home that's being sold as attractive as possible. But really, if you go deep down in what is my objective and how can I best help you as a realtor, is to drive traffic to the home.
Of course.
And in marketing, we work with a concept called IDA, which stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. And action is then obviously
the goal.
The goal, and which is the offer for the home and selling the home eventually.
Correct.
And I think with staging, it's my task to make sure that with the online listing, where it starts, of course, is I grab someone's attention, by presenting the home as beautiful and as attractive as possible with the photographs that follow after I stage the home.
Right.
Then, by presenting the home and showing the possibilities of the home, I hope to create an interest.
Correct.
And then finally, if people visit the home, you hope to create a desire by people thinking, wow, I could see myself living in this house.
Right.
And then really, it's on to you.
Correct.
And negotiations follow, inspections,
and
you name it.
Closing.
and hopefully closing.
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. This question is not here in our questionnaire, but how would you describe your style? Or how does that style or creative mind evolves with the years, right? Because probably what you were doing for the homes, like you mentioned, it was very light, a plant, a rug, or something like that. How does that creative or that style evolves through the years? Or is it something that you follow the market trends and you evolve with it by what you see and what you like?
Right.
Tell me a little bit about that, if that's okay with you.
So, why I'm so happy to be working in this business, meaning property development, flipping, but also very much so staging, because I've always had a big passion for architecture and interior design.
Right, you have to have the eye, right?
By nature, I always look on, what's happening in this market. When I stage, I really have to keep in mind that it's not my home and it's not meant for me to live there. So it's not 100% my personal taste.
Okay.
So I think here in Texas, it's definitely a different taste than maybe elsewhere in New York or California. That they all have their own styles on a broad base. Right. So I think there's a bit of Western kind of country in the way I stage. Okay. But at the same time, I do put quite a bit of myself in there by mixing modern and contemporary with more traditional. Okay. And I think that creates quite an interesting eclectic kind of style.
It does.
That catches the attention of people seeing the home on the listing online.
Yes, and it's very nice, very clean looking, which I really appreciate, because people want to feel like when they go in, they feel like this is I would say, how would you say, clean and nice and open and spacious, but still very good taste.
Right.
Yes, I really like
and
that.
Maybe some quirky elements, and I think in staging there's a lot of the homes look alike.
Yes.
And you see the same items, it's the same general style, and I hope to stand out just a little bit, because I don't want to go crazy and
outside of the box that people will reject it.
It still has to appeal to a very large audience, for sure.
Very interesting, very good. Aside from creating traffic, Tobias, what could be an added value of hiring a stager or even an interior designer?
So they are seen as two different things, interior design and staging, but I really see staging as a subcategory of interior design, but with a very specific goal in mind, which is selling the home. And in interior design, you definitely have to have a certain feel, passion, but maybe most of all, a certain eye for what works best in this space. And I remember you calling me as well one day for a certain home that had an awkward space, where even the owner wasn't quite sure what to do with this space. And it took me quite a while, and I walk around the house and I move around stuff. I think about it at night, and then finally, you try and come up with a solution.
Yes, and it turned out
great. We made an office, of this space.
Yes, it turned out great.
And but at the same time, TV, for instance, is central in every home, especially in America, I would say.
Yes.
So it's important for me to consider where would one place the TV.
Right.
Once you have a place for the TV,
Okay.
that has a large effect on where do you place the sofa, the
furniture.
chairs, the other.
Makes
But
sense.
and then it's important not to overcrowd. Which makes it chaotic and feel smaller. You don't want it to feel or be empty, and therefore the place feels cold.
Yes.
So you have to find the balance.
It's really tricky.
How does a person walk through the house? That will also determine where you place certain things
No
or
obstacles
not. No obstacles, no clutter. And
Makes sense.
so I think that's very important.
Yes.
And I think sometimes I hear a potential buyer say, wow, the house looks amazing. I love what you did to the place.
Yes.
But when I move my furniture in, it won't look like that.
Right.
But there's maybe, maybe it's to a certain point, it's inspirational or even aspirational to, move in and...
Right. And play with what they have.
And, right.
Yes.
And maybe throw out something and replace it with something different, or position the sofa that you have differently.
Now that you mentioned that, would you have ever the case where you have staged a house and that happens and then they call you, can you stage my house now because I'm moving in? And that's something you can do?
Yes. Okay. So I've done that on one occasion where a befriended realtor sold a home to a person who had a full interior and really no desire to buy a new interior, but she asked me to come around and put everything in place.
Very good.
As I thought would be the best place for this furniture.
That's good.
Which is a really interesting job.
Because now it's somebody that's actually going to be living in that house, not only with the goal to sell or to make somebody else happy, but they're going to have to enjoy the space.
Yeah. So it becomes real.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. Does your business offer other services next to furnishing and decorating the interior?
Yeah, so this is something that really grew organically as well. And, you run into a need, and I try to fulfill this need. So one obvious one is for curb appeal, you want your yard to look neat and tidy. Above all, to have the lawn mown regularly. Right. So I can take care of that, of course. And maybe once every 2 weeks, have someone come by, take care of the yard.
That's good.
Whenever I stage a home, I really insist that I have access at all times.
Right.
And I go by maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks to check whether everything is in place, whether everything is still there.
Yeah, that's a big one.
But also for the owner, the seller of the house, are all the doors locked?
Right.
And once every 2 times I visit a home, I find a window is unlocked or the back door is unlocked.
Right.
Is the alarm on?
Yes. That happens often.
Are there? It's, I think realtors, when they visit, they're all client focused and not so much.
Sure.
Of
course.
Are the lights on everywhere? Should they be?
Right.
Another important thing is the AC working.
True.
And
especially in Houston with this heat.
Yeah, but there's 2 elements to that. First of all, it's not very pleasant to walk into a house and you melt because
it's horrible.
Temperature went up to 90. It won't sell. Yeah. Another important aspect to that is I've walked into houses where the wooden floor started bulging because the temperature was too warm.
Right, you have to keep certain levels of temperature.
So is the AC off? Is the AC malfunctioning?
Right.
So I'll report that to the owner of the house.
That's very good. And I appreciate that because with the listing that I have that you staged, that's exactly what you've done. And you helped me tremendously because I can't be there every day. The seller probably doesn't stop by the house every day either. Yeah. So between all of us together, we keep an eye on the listing. We make sure it's clean. We make sure, like you said, the windows are closed. The AC is working. It's really important. Yeah. Or nothing has been stolen. Not only appliances disappear, furniture also disappears.
Yes.
So it's so true.
So is the house tidy? Is it clean?
Is it clean?
Is it clean before I move in the staging furniture and accessories? That's really important.
And before the open house, before people come in and take a look at it, all of that is really important. You're right.
People have to understand that although I charge by the month,
Right.
obviously, my prime goal and my biggest benefit is if the house sells quickly.
Correct.
Because there is a bit of a, I start off with a certain fee, and the fee decreases as the months go on.
Correct.
I make more money staging a new home after a new home,
Of course.
and sell your home as quick as possible.
Agreed.
So,
and I have to add that your prices are very competitive, very good.
Thank you.
Very good and reasonable. Nothing, off the charts. So
Right.
that's very good. How can a client or realtor find you?
All right, well, I'm available by phone day and night. It's 832-922-8024. And furthermore, you'll find me on Facebook, and the company name is staging-to-sell. And the URL for the Facebook site is facebook.com/Home Interiors Houston.
Very good.
I was very surprised Home Interiors Houston wasn't
It's
taken.
still available,
right?
huh? Wow.
But it's mine now.
You never know. You
Right.
never know. Thank you so much, Tobias, for joining us at the Houston
welcome.
Real Estate Talk. And we look forward to continue the business relationship and to grow it and bring you more business as well.
Right. Thank you very much, Kariliz.
All right. Have a good one. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.